Okay, so do you want to hold this mic or do you want to use this? So, do you move around a lot like me?
Well,
Could
right
you-
now I'm not going to move around.
Okay, good. Here, and we'll do this one for you. Okay, is that about your height?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. There we go. Perfecto. Okay, and what's your last name? I'm sorry.
Haydon.
Hayden. So Abby Hayden. What happened is she shows up and she's sitting in the audience, and and I'm like going, So we just sat and started chatting. This woman could do a myriad of things. This is just one of them. So she's gonna share about what past life regression is, because it's not a woo-woo thing. They actually use this modality in hypnotherapy to help people heal. So with that, let's welcome Abby.
Well, thank you so much, and I feel really blessed to be here and to find a place that I feel I can express everything that I am. And today we're going to talk about past life regression. Now, in order to tell you about this, I think I'm going to share a bit of my history first so you can learn a little bit about me. I had a spiritual awakening in college. I was in the 70s. And all of a sudden I was reading tarot cards and I was channeling, and I started studying astrology, numerology, palmistry, all these different things. And then I graduated and came back to the US, and I started doing the practical thing that my parents wanted and became a teacher, public school teacher. But my heart was still wanting something else, and I started studying a lot of different things. And one of the things I studied was past life regression, and I studied with a man who is who I feel is a pioneer in the field, and his name is Dick Sutphin. I think he's still alive, not sure, but he was one of the first people to ever take hypnotherapy into a different arena, which is to access our past lives. So I had started to develop a lot of different talents. My channeling came, tarot cards, all that different kinds of spiritual things. But I wasn't really able to bring that to other people. I just kept it within myself. And I felt like I wanted to share it with other people or use my abilities with other people, but I hadn't really found the way. But then I thought, well, I'll take past life regression. That's another thing I'm interested in, and study that. And it was during these past life regressions when you're in a class and you work on each other a lot. So I had several past lives that I became aware of where I was a shaman, I was a medicine man in Africa, I was a writer during the Middle Ages, I was burned during the Inquisition. So everything that I wanted to do, I was punished for in past lives. One time I was an herbalist, and some kids were playing a joke and they came and put an axe through my head. It was just horrible punishment. One time my fingers were cut off so I couldn't write. So past life regression helped me, first of all, connect with abilities that I have, and then helped me understand that that pain was in the past and it wasn't here, and I wasn't going to get an axe in my head or my hands cut off or anything, from expressing myself now at this particular time in history. So that was like the beginning for me of helping me to go beyond my fears and start sharing what I could do and what I was called to do with other people. And so over the years, with my practice with past life regression, I have come to see that there are 3 basic areas that I can help people. And past life regression isn't, it's not just about seeing if you were Cleopatra in a past life. It's about creating a healing modality for ourselves, a way to release the blocks, because I found out that when we, in our life today, there's so many things from past lives that are bleeding into this life, and that may be preventing us from doing things because we were punished in the past, or we just don't feel enough confidence to be able to express ourselves or do what we feel we have a calling to do inside. So past life regression helps in these three areas, and obviously I'm a person who has been able to create a new career and listen to these callings, utilize the knowledge that I've used in past lives, and bring it forward into this life. Now, another area that past life regression is really good for is health and relationships. So, really what we're doing is connecting with our subconscious and taking all the knowledge of the past and what has gone on in other lifetimes and being able to access that knowledge. So everything is in the subconscious, and past life regression is just a way, and there are other ways as well, but past life regression is just a way for us to access what is in our subconscious and acknowledge it, bring it forward, or release it and let it go. And so there are a lot of releasing techniques and therapies today, and past life regression is one of them. But in my work, I have found that in the areas of health, relationship, and career, past life regression can be extremely helpful. So one of the success stories, and actually I'm on Santa Barbara Wellness Directory, and I have these testimonials about past life regression written there if you'd ever want to read them in more detail. But I did a past life regression on a woman, and she was about 30 when I met her and did this regression. And she had an extreme health problem, and a doctor had asked her or encouraged her to get gallbladder surgery because she couldn't eat raw food. She couldn't eat anything that wasn't either boiled or made into mush or really soft like baby food. That was all she could eat. So we did this regression, and what came forth was that she had been a 10-year-old girl in Nazi Germany. And she was Jewish, and her parents were killed. Then she was taken to a concentration camp, and they did experiments on her, and they fed her different kinds of poisons, and she threw up, and they wanted to see if the body could tolerate these poisons, but she had a real problem of throwing up in that past life, and finally, when she was almost dead, they just threw her into the pit with all the dead people. She was still alive, and that's how she died. So what we did was we cut the cords. This is something that I do with past life regression when I'm working with someone individually. And what I do is I help them to cut the cords, cut the connection to that past life. Not just to see the past life, but to also release anything that is not serving them in this life. So what happened was we cut the cords, and within 24 hours she called me up, and she said that she was drinking coffee and eating brownies with her neighbor, two things that she could never do. And so within 24 hours, the whole problem just disappeared, and she now can eat anything she wants. And she also told me that it made sense to her because she was adopted, and when she was a little girl, she kept throwing up, and her parents, nobody knew why she kept throwing up. So this helped her understand a lot of what was going on in her life, in the present. And it also freed her in an incredible way physically. Another experience I had with relationships is a woman came to me, and she had been having this relationship with a man, and he was married and had a child with someone else, but they had this incredible attraction, and they couldn't understand it, but they kept their relationship platonic, but it's like they had to see each other, they had to be around each other, and this is going on for 17 years.
Ugh.
And so she came to me and she went, I need to get out of this. It's not doing anything for me. I can't be with anyone else. It's not giving me what I want out of life, so I want to be free of this. So what we found out during the past life was that she and this man had been married in a past life, but she died very young. And the man wanted to have children. He was never able to have children. And he lived his life alone, the majority of his life, because he was never with anyone else, and he loved her, and their love was very strong. So in this life, he had the wife, he had the child, he had gotten what he needed, or he didn't get, from this past life, but they were able to maintain their connection. So as we see in many relationship situations today, there's all kinds of reasons for people being attracted to each other, being friends with each other, having connections with each other, and it helped this woman to understand the relationship, and she didn't end the relationship, but that whole sense of wanting more and being frustrated, all that went away for her. So she was able to enjoy their connection, but she understood the perspective, she understood the bigger picture, and why he was with another woman, why he had a child with another woman, and it gave her a sense of peace. I've also done past life regressions where people have fears and phobias that they want to be free of, and I did a regression on a man who was really afraid of drowning, to the point where he wouldn't go on an airplane that was going over water, and he would definitely not go out in a boat. That was the worst thing for him. So he wanted to be free of that. And so what we found out during the regression was that he had been a Viking, and he was in a little rowboat. They had a raiding party, and they were rowing to shore, and someone shot an arrow in his neck. He died. Well, he wasn't dead, but he collapsed and fell into the water, and he drowned in about 3 feet of water. So when we got to that understanding, and we were able to cut the connection to that life, then he called me from, I think it was in Europe or something, and he said, oh yeah, I took the plane and I could go to Europe and I fly over the water and I was just fine. So past life regression has a lot of different applications, and there's a lot of different ways that it can be used for healing. And it can also just put you in touch with yourself, who you are, even if you don't want a new career or vocation or that kind of thing. Even if you want to be an artist, if you want to paint and you don't feel you're good enough or you can't, and maybe a regression would help you to release those blocks so you could just enjoy the experience of making a painting or a sculpture or something like that. So past life regression is a really valid and useful therapy that can bring healing to many aspects of our lives. So
Abby, I was going to ask, so today we're going to have Abby do a group past life regression. So how will that be for people?
Well, during a group regression, what will happen is that I'll do what we call an induction, which is taking you to a very relaxed, peaceful state so that you can go forward on your past life regression and have an experience of it. So in a group past life regression, many things can come out, and I don't have the ability to work with each person individually, but I will guide you through it, and will have an experience, some experience of past life information or some knowledge that will come to you.
Yeah, perfect, perfect.
How are people
Well-
arranged?
Well, hang on, because we've got to talk to her after, because we've got to get cooking, but
Yeah.
I think, so would it be helpful for people going in to ask to see a certain life, or just to allow the soul to
Well,
show?
if you have something, let's say you have a relationship that's upsetting to you, or you don't understand, or like I said, you have a desire to paint, but you sell insurance and you want to express that part, or if you have a health problem that's bothering you,
Okay,
you can also see if there's a connection to a past life.
yeah, that's what
You
I'm
have that
saying.
intention.
Right, because I would go in and I didn't necessarily have a specific, I kind of just knew I just needed to see something to just move me forward in my life. So it's whatever you feel you need, at this point in your life. So it's great. So
Thank you.
with that, Abby's going to be here, ask her questions. We're just kind of running a little late, so we wanted to make sure that we were able to get all that in. Thank you. That was wonderful. And I know everybody has tons of questions. So just know that, come talk to her and come experience it. It's not scary. It's actually a very peaceful, relaxing state, and it helps to heal things that you didn't even realize were there. I didn't know anyway. So I'm looking forward to today because I'm just gonna ask my soul to pick the one I need. All right, with